And
I
once you
remember
understand that,
specifically one time, I can't remember what the topic was, but it had led you down a rabbit hole. It was one of the conversations we had, and then Inaz had brought something up, and then you started doing research and reading it, and you said, this is very hard for me because I'm starting to get angry. I think what happens a lot of times is that when you become more conscious, like a lot of us walk around without knowing our history, not knowing things about like redlining and black codes and Jim Crow laws and the impact that that really had. But when you start learning about those things, it's very difficult to not get angry, even though you may not have directly experienced it, let's say at first hand. But me knowing that my grandmother experienced it, me knowing that my grandmother knew her grandmother who was enslaved, like the fact that she freaking knew a slave, like people talk about slavery happened so many years ago, and it really is not that far. uh, the fact that I know somebody that had firsthand experience talking to a slave, hugging a slave, like that is my family. That's not that far. So imagine if that would be my great great grandmother, right? My grandmother knew her. So imagine all of the trauma that she experienced, passed it on to my great grandmother, who then passed that on to my grand. You understand what I'm saying? So that
no,
trauma is still here, but we talk about it like it didn't exist. And then even though slavery ended, the mindset, you can't legislate people's hearts. And so you have all of those laws that were set up to also continue to keep Black people in their place. Now we're at a time where we're saying, yeah, you don't have those same barriers. So just forget about all of that. You inexperienced, so you should be able to move forward. But that doesn't mean that the way that you were raised haven't
Right.
impacted the way that you think. Like my father to this day, anything he talk about, he'd be like, well, the white man, you know what I'm saying? And that's because that has been his experience. So growing up hearing that, guess what? I'm going to have some kind of reservations about white people. Even though that wasn't my direct experience, I'm going to have some reservations because of his experience. You understand what
I,
I'm saying?
AP,
no,
I agree with you about how deep this shit hit. Me and Mistaken Brother played on the same team, right? I was getting a lot of burn. At one point in time, the coach ended up calling somebody an N-word, an all white man. That shit affected me so much. I walked away from right or wrong, right? I could have used the millions, but I walked away from that because my conscience wouldn't let me continue to sit there and play and be around this white man after being disrespected like that. And that it's not just people be like, oh, the N-word don't matter. It don't matter to you coming from them. It's got a whole lot of historical context and reasons why. Like right now, I was talking to my friend Scott the other day. He was like, bro, if you could do this again, would you have left? I'm like, I may have tried to like take it. He was like, you wouldn't have been able to. I know you too well. Your conscience would have ate you up. And we could have been prepping you for a year for him to do that. You still would have had the same response. I'm like, you know what? I can't lie. You right. Because we was talking about what I would have done with 15 to 20 million going to the first round. Because me and her brother was plotting for the same spot. He ended up going to the league, and I was playing over him at one point. You know what I'm saying? So it was a real trajectory, and it got derailed specifically from that. And I don't regret it. Like
no.
I don't
So,
know.
and first of all, I've never said to forget. My mindset is to always adjust. So, and if you don't mind, Marcus, I'm just going to use the scenario that you went through, if that's okay, to kind of help make this case. So, in the scenario where I hear a coach, and I've actually never heard a coach ever say this, but in a scenario where I hear a coach call me or someone else the N word, and like, I don't think I don't believe anybody should say it, especially white folks. But my objective at that point is I'm gonna get this fired. That will literally be my goal. I will make that my mission until that mission is complete. So, in my get back isn't for me to. think and destroy my livelihood. No, bro, I didn't make you say whatever you said, and I didn't make you think the thoughts that you had. But what I will do is make it my purpose to ensure you don't get the opportunity to do that or say that or behave that way to another kid for at least through the remainder of my overall career. That will always be a highlight for me because I'm not like I'm not the dude that I'm the get back dude. I'm not gonna let it go.
You don't understand the power
but at the same time, I understand. At the same time, I understand that they have their own rules to this game, and as soon as you learn their rules, beat them at that game, and I think that is something that is totally achievable. So
this was a different time, AP. One, like right now, you can do that. Absolutely. You got social media. You got a way to get that message out there. You got a way to actually fight back. When this happened, it was still legacy media, the only way to communicate or get a message out. There was no internet or social media. Then if you bring it to the athletic director,
the power dynamic was different.
The power dynamic was way different. He was like the
winningest coach. They get rid of him.
Yeah, not for that. So you got to understand it was a way different time. Right now, it's possible. Back then, it wasn't no recompense. It was really nothing.
And again, I understand exactly what you're saying, but what I also understand is you can't be the winningest coach without a team on the court. So do you believe that you in the locker room could have gotten your brothers to band with you and say we're not playing for this?
No,
I tried. They wanted.
I'm asking because again, I wasn't there. That's why I'm asking.
I'm telling you, it's 12 people in line to become multimillionaires. To them, it was not that important.
Who got families that they were responsible for?
Yeah. All of that.
And honestly, that's why I think part of
that's the sadder part to me, though.
America is able to do what they do because the emphasis is always on the money, right? So I can dangle money in front of you. People will sell their soul for that. You know what I'm saying? So when you say, well, I can pull, look at what happened. What was his name? That took the knee. What's his name? The football player. And he was taking a knee. He had the big afro.
Oh, Kaepernick.
Yeah, Kaepernick.
He did it wrong too.
But what I'm saying is that his attempt at trying to do that cost him being able to be on the team. Now, honestly, it worked out in his favor later on. But a lot of times what happens is we're trained to have an individual mindset, and it doesn't work all the time, especially when you're trying to stand on principle. A lot of time you're standing by yourself.
That's a fact. And I took that. I understood that then. I understand that now. I have no regrets about it. I got pride in the fact that I did it. I could use a couple more.
But you still do that though, Marky Mark, because in these podcasts they be so against you, but you don't even care. You be like,
yeah, I've been the same person.
I said what I said.
I've been the same.
Now, see, I understand, and I think Kaepernick did it wrong too. But again, I didn't know what he tried to do behind the scenes first, which is why I asked Marcus, did you try to get your brothers on the squad?
I did.
To take the I'm gonna say the proverbial knee as well. But you said you attempted that, so obviously those cats is like, nah, bro, I feel you, but I want that money. Then you have to do it the Ali route, and that's unfortunate.